Live from the Heartland Mamas studios, this is the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry. Please find our podcast on all podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, proudly part of the Demcast USA network. As of today, we only have 271 days left to save the USA. We have to save the USA from fascism, so you need to get out there and work getting Democrats elected up and down the dial, turn the ballot over, vote for all your judges, get this done, because this is the most important election in our country's history. We are teetering on the edge of fascism, so let's make it happen, shall we? Because our story today is again about the southern border, and I just want to tell you that I've seen a lot of stupid, spineless shit from the Republicans over my lifetime. This takes the cake. Maybe not completely. I think trying to roll back the ACA was probably their biggest spineless, worthless contribution to nothingness that they're so good at. But let's talk about what happened at the southern border on the migrant crisis that they've manufactured with help from their good friend and patriarch, Ronald Reagan. So months ago, for months we've been hearing how the Democrats are doing nothing at the southern border. The Republicans write a bill, bring the Democrats in, bring Kristen Sinema in. They craft this legislation. It takes them 4 frickin' months. The Human Rights Commission says that this is a violently oppressive bill. But Joe Biden came to the table. He said, let's get this done. Let's get this done. Let's invest the, $118 billion that the Republicans wanted for fentanyl sniffing machines at every port of entry. I love that. It's Americans coming back from vacation that are bringing fentanyl with them, not the migrants, but I love that we're going to be able to find it now. It's going to bring tons more border guards, tons more, so that we can process people quickly. It's going to lower the time. So when people come here to the United States to apply for asylum, we have to tag them and let them go, because that's our law. That's our law, constitutional law. But what this did is said, after so many in a day, we're shutting the border, we're all done, because we can only do it for so long. And we're cutting down that wait time from 7 to 11 years for an asylum hearing where people are just walking about the country. We're cutting it down to a year or less. I think that's a great step forward. Now, is it going to help those that fly in to say they're going to Disney World and then just disappear into the country? Probably not. Is it going to affect the people that just walk in from Canada every day? No, because we just totally don't do anything about that. But it will correct the issue at the southern border. Now, tied to that was some funding for Ukraine and some funding for Israel. So let's talk about Ukraine, because the Republican orange overlord decided that he wants to gift Ukraine to Putin. And Putin has said, I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to proceed into Poland and Germany and start World War III, because I want the USSR back. And if you are too young to know what the USSR is, that was Cold War politics. That ended in my lifetime. But it was a horrible thing that they did in Russia, where they collected all the nations around them and called it the USSR. And they made people live in utter poverty just to make sure that they could fund their military. It was horrible. But that's what Putin wants again, because he's a sick old man, right? He just remembers those glory days, which weren't so glorious when you're standing in a 4-hour bread line. That was the USSR. That's Russia today. We don't want that here. But for some reason, Trump wants it here. And for some reason, his supporters think that's a great idea, because, the orange overlord kisses the ass of Putin every chance he gets. So then there's funding for Israel. And, that is stupefying for me. I understand our position in Israel. I understand that we are friends with Israel. I also understand that Bibi Netanyahu let down the guard and allowed the attack in October to happen because he's so focused on trying to avoid going to prison for his criminal behavior in government in Israel that he will do anything to distract, right? He will do anything he can to distract, even if he has to kill another 25,000 people in Gaza, because he herded them all to the north, right? Then he bombed the crap out of the north, and he herded them all to the south, and he bombed the crap out of the south. Then he herded them all to the middle, and he bombed the crap out of the middle. Now he herded them back south again, and they're getting ready to attack there again. So, and this is like in a 4 by 6 square mile area. There is over 1 million people. And we want to give him more weapons so he can kill more people, evidently, because they've already bombed every single school, not just preschools, but all the way through college. Every school in Gaza is gone. Every school, every hospital, every medical center, every place for people to get food or water is gone. There's nothing. They've destroyed all the infrastructure. And I know I did a show a couple weeks ago about how they're ready to let the U.S. and Egypt come in and repair the damage they did, and we get to pay for it. Listen, that's only going to happen with a two-state solution, period. End of sentence. Two-state solution or no deal. And Netanyahu is held accountable by his people for the crimes he committed. There is no leeway on that. But let's get back to this border bill, shall we? Let me read to you a quote that I have right here. It is from Troy Nels from Texas, right on the border. And he says that he is not willing to help any Democrat pass any bill that might make them look good, period, end of sentence, to the point where he is ready to sacrifice more people and to create and endure more chaos down there, because it might make Joe Biden look good. Now look, this bill that they won't even put on the floor was crafted by them. It is everything they asked for, including the big amount of money. Everything they asked for. And now they're like, you know what? That might, fix everything that we're running on. So no, we're just going to let the chaos and the chaos magician reign, because that's all they want, right? The Republican Party has become the most flaccid, impotent, idiotic mess of bullied babies on the planet. They can't get anything done to help anyone except for Donald Trump. That's all they care about. You and me that foot the bill for all their shenanigans, we don't matter. Only them. So I want you to think about this, because for the next however long it takes until we get the new Congress seated, and we know that this bullshit is going to backfire on them, we will get both houses and the presidency, and they won't get a bill this strict. They will not. It won't happen, because we have a hard time being as mean as the Republicans do. I admit it. I'm not as mean as my opponent, even though he seems like such a nice guy. I'm not as mean as him. I might be meaner some days, but Democrats, not mean people. We want to feed children. We want to house people. We want to make sure that everybody has health care. Those are the basic tenets of life. We fight tooth and nail over drug prices, for God's sake. The Republicans don't give a shit about anything unless it's a headline, a soundbite, or hurting somebody. I swear to God. From the edge of the Great Red Divide, the Great Red Divide, where I live, to your ears, I hope you have a great day. Vote blue no matter who. This has been the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry.